Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of the Unreasonable Art of Living podcast. I'm your host, Gerhard Molin, and today we have two special guests, Sumo and Ami, and as always, joined with my partner, co-founder, and amazing friend, Justin. As always, enjoy the music. Welcome, buddy. I had to record the intro once more time because unfortunately the episode with Sumo and Ami, there were some technical issues, so I had to record the intro. Just want to let you know, unfortunately the quality is not peak, not the best, but the conversation is nonetheless absolutely amazing and worth listening to. So apologies for the low quality. And without further ado, enjoy the episode with our founding members, Sumo and Ami.
Great. We're happy to be here.
Yeah, and typical 11 Dunbar style, it just starts your night with a very big smile because that was quite the tune to start off our podcast, by the way. That was a good one.
Yeah. Perfect. Sorry. Maybe we can just kick it
Yeah.
off with,
All,
Justin, you want to say?
all,
I do.
all
I do.
podcast.
I do want to say something. My dance that I did, Ami. I don't know if you know this, but so my former VP of engineering, Rupak, he once told me, I was like, how do y'all? Every Indian person I've ever met can dance. Like what? He's like, yeah,
That's
we all
true.
grew up dancing. We go to a group. Here's what I teach my white friends how to dance. He's like, you just bounce your shoulders and point to the sky at the same time.
Well,
like-
that's one way of dancing for sure. It's so sad though. In India, we have such complex dances, like actual dance forms in India, which are like very good to watch at. They're super complex, and you need to be part of this whole something known as gharana, which basically means like a household, but which is basically like you have a person who teaches you how to kind of learn that dance and that form of dance. But Indians have, I think the most groove that Indians show is on Bollywood music, which is like Indian movie music, which is basically freestyle, which is obviously awesome. But it's sad to see that all the other forms are kind of not. I won't say it's dying. There are obviously enough people still doing it, but it's like it has not even in fact Bollywood used to have those form of dances incorporated in their music. Obviously that kind of went away slowly over the period of time, and now we have obviously like jazz and hip hop and freestyle, which all Indians do, which is also not bad. You should keep moving, I think.
Well, one of
it,
you please be my dance Sherpa. I don't have a. What'd you call it? What was the name for it? I don't have a dance Sherpa. What was the name you gave it?
you mean gharana?
Krana.
I need one.
Gharana, yeah.
So we need 11 Dunbar Kranas, basically. That's what I'm hearing.
Yep. That's
So-
true because it is like the way of like basically they're styles of music or dance.
Mhm.
So particular style. If you are in like let's say like Denver had a like in just to give an example of US, like let's say Denver or California had a particular style, it would be known as California Gharana. If it was Denver, then Denver Gharana. If it was New York, then New York Gharana. It's just associated from the place you're from or the person who's teaching you. So yeah, just a system of a mentor and a mentee, which is quite prevalent, which used to be at least very prevalent in India. The concept of a mentor and a mentee for different things, like it can be sports or like spiritualism or dance or music. It's a very ingrained concept that Indians have.
Ami, do you have is there a story or like when Simo mentions that, is there a specific Rana for any genre, vertical or whatever that you can think of, like one of your earliest memories?
One of my earliest memories is Sumo and me in a very cottage industry dance competition. and we have danced on multiple floors across the globe. But I think the earliest was when we were probably I was 8 and he was 6 or something like that, dancing and competing on Bollywood songs in something called the Rainbow Children's Club or something like that. Sumo, correct me if I'm wrong. But
Yeah,
this is going, yeah, something like that, right? Rainbow Children's Club?
Rainbow. Yeah, Rainbow was definitely there. It was like it started with a book club, which then turned into a competition where people had to show different things, and yeah, and so on and so forth. Like when we were kids. That's right.
Who
So
who is
from there,
who is
sir?
the better dancer? Real quick, just real quick.
Oh, Sumitro, everything. So all Nico is like Sumitro is a
What?
chat. I mean,
What?
he
No,
he
not at all.
I can get the steps right, but he can get the party together, right? So our dancing is not for competing. It
Well,
is for can he make all four of us dance? I will bet on him with my eyes shut. If Sumitro is there, the party is on. No questions asked. So there he's and the
I don't
city
think
I'm
I
in
can.
right now.
I don't think I can. I will disagree on that, but definitely not the better dancer. Not the better dancer. Even I'm sure I have not seen you guys dance, but I'm 100% sure not the better dancer
Ooh, I'm
among
not
the
sure
four
yet.
of us.
I think just like judging based on the 20 seconds I just saw in the intro, I think ooh, there's quite a delta between my dancing and your dancing, and your
Well,
feeling for it.
but yeah, that's I do believe there is like music kind of can make you like move really well. Doesn't mean like I don't think people would dance uh to proper steps. Some people can really dance, man, because I've seen like especially women like they they dance so well. You're like, that's why I think most men don't dance, because when you look at women dancing, you're like, we should just move away and let people who know the shit, they do it, because they don't have inhibition. This is a problem with men, I think. I'm sorry, I don't want to move the conversation completely away, but I really do think it has to do with how most men, even liberal whatever, have been brought up in a certain way where it's very difficult for us to shed our inhibitions. And if you can't shed your inhibitions, you can't dance. You have to you have to be free. It is like a it is like doing a drug. It is like doing anything in your life where you want to succeed. You have to kind of shed your inhibitions, I think. And women
This
are
is like
so much better,
this
so
is
so much better.
comes very
Yeah.
close to not just dancing, but also like it's so fascinating. It was like 2 years ago on an emotional health retreat, and the person was asking Max, a really great guy, okay, who here is playing an instrument? And only a few people raised their hand, and I was like, guys, everyone is playing an instrument. You forgot your voice. And I think it's
Yeah.
the same thing, like we all have with dancing and singing is like this with it's just like if you like there's so much shame for some people around that. And also like when you like everyone can sing. I really believe in this. Like not we're not maybe like amazing stars, but everyone can express we have such
Right.
unique voices. The same what you just said is so beautiful with dancing. It's like it's we all can dance. We don't have to kind of be, I don't know, like perfect dancers. It's just like body expression. So fully
Yeah.
with you on that.
I think it also depends on like upbringing, right? So my school was pretty useless at normal education. Like we didn't get good grades and all. But dancing is one thing we did in front of 500 people every week. So if you play a beat, I honestly have like Nico said, like I don't have an inhibition to think of. I probably have to think of the step that how do you dance if it's something new. But like Justin said, if it's a Bollywood song, we probably know the first 5, 6 steps as well. Also, my wife is a good dancer and she loves dancing, so I get a practice of it almost on a weekend basis. So I think upbringing plus how many opportunities do you get to
Mm.
really go to a club and be comfortable where people are not judging you and you're having fun. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but I was thinking about one more point. When you guys come to Bhutan and India and Goa and Delhi, all these places are big party places, like culturally as well, not just clubs, but it is ingrained in it. Like hill people will start dancing and singing on a drop of a hat. So that is something that is also a part of your 11 Dunbar too when you guys are here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. I do think it's like, Chad, you're right. Like, our voice is one of the most powerful instruments for sure. And I think people do dance. Uh, I think it's like swimming, right? It's just that because we haven't been thrown into the water when after we were born, and then you just forget. But I think it's inside of us. It's just that nobody encourages you to do it unless they do, and then it's
It's
completely different. So
it's
I do think it makes a lot of difference how, what you were told when you were a kid. Like for me, I think even swimming, I was afraid more than my parents really wanted me to swim. So it took me time to actually, embrace and start loving water. So, and once I started loving water, it like completely flipped for me. But I remember when I went for my first swimming class, I really was super afraid and I didn't want to do it. And it took me a week or 2 weeks time before I would even, go for classes properly and things like that. But once I started loving water and as I grew up, which I completely, I'm a big fan of water now. I think it was second nature because that's what we were meant to do, I think.
Mhm.
it's so
Um,
spot on what you said about the exposure part of it. Like I came from a family that my sister was in dance, like point, tap, jazz, ballet, all that stuff. But we as a family
yeah.
didn't listen to music and dance. We played games, we competed, we played sports, and some instruments, but we didn't dance. So that meant I never was really exposed to it personally in a way that was fun, had the shame and the ego and the fear of judgment of how you look removed. So I grew up with basically two left feet. I have rhythm, but I can't dance at all, which is terrible. However, I did learn to swim at 3 years old. I was thrown into a pool and then you teach it. So, but it goes to show,
Best
like,
way to learn.
that exposure really matters at an early age in the family.
Yeah, and also like, oh man, the exposure thing, just hit me really hard. For me, actually, when up until the age of 26, I did not know that entrepreneurship was something for me. And it actually happened when I moved to Finland and Helsinki, which is a very entrepreneurial country. And the culture kind of like allowed me to discover this side in me that's like, hey, entrepreneurship is something I really love doing. And it just made me realize that like how often we are raised in environments that maybe limit your beliefs of what you could be. And then so my question to you, Ami and Sumo, like what areas in your life do you think like helped you, like where you realized, oh, this environment, these people, this culture exposed me to something that I didn't know I had in myself?
It's funny you asked me that. I don't know. Probably it was because of this podcast, but just 2 days before, I was thinking about this exact same question for no reason whatsoever. And with all honesty, it's been teachers and mentors and really inspiring people. So in my school, my director of school was Mr. Arun Kapoor, who was like Dumbledore, a magician with education, right? And with all honesty, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be 90% of me wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for this guy who was like, nah, don't be about definitions, be about figuring yourself out. Like you are literally whatever is here, it can happen. So him inspiring all of us and me to explore, and then that exploration leading to somebody very similar, Dr. Frank Wells in Germany, and then coming back and then finding another mentor. So these mentors just showed up, right? These people were hey, do more.
Hmm.
I pretty lazy by instinct and always wanted a 9 to 5 job. Don't remember since 17, which was the day I had like a holiday. I did not want to work. Never had a 9 to 5 job. So my instincts and what happened was very, very different. And I think mentors and friends were the biggest influence. What about you, Sumo?
Yeah, like uh for me, I've had many people who I now believe like guided me to who I became. uh you know uh they were uh I think I took, I took inspiration more than anything else. Like, when you speak to people or when you observe people, you don't know. Like, I always had this thing which I used to say jokingly. If like I was sitting on a chair and then there would be another person standing, I'm like, hey man, can you sit down? I don't like looking up to people. You know, just as a joke. And honestly, I never had heroes in my life, which is for sure. I have never had people who I thought, oh, I want to emulate them, to be honest. But I've realized over the period of time, I have got inspired by many people, be it Ami here, be it you guys now, who I'm seeing the way you live your lives. And when I was younger, the people I interacted with, be it my parents or, be, uh, like how Ami said, he was very lucky to have someone in his school who really, gave him some kind of inspiration. I think I had, I had some teachers who were very inspiring. There was a student in our university area who I knew who was, who introduced me to music actually, who introduced me to Led Zeppelin, which I never knew that will become my favorite band. My neighbor introduced me to Pink Floyd, which was again a very, like, when I was 11 or 10 years old. So I think I've always got influenced by people, and I always like to think people are always your friends, no matter how old or young they are. So, but you realize, as you grow older, you realize that everyone leaves an impact in your life, which is kind of like mentorship. So these are just interchangeable words that we use, but these are things in, putting putting some kind of, like, I remember things now which were told to me maybe 10 years, 12 years back, and I'm like, oh, I did not even know I did
Yeah.
this unknowingly in my life, without realizing that someone had implanted that thought in my head 15 years back. And you suddenly get that eureka movement. You have that, you really realize that, oh, this was not my original thought. I did this because someone had told me this, which I, at that point of time, laughed in my head, said yes to them, and moved away. Uh, which is lot of the time my reaction when I was younger. Um, which was to say, yeah, that's great advice, and then never do it. But the point is that it did kind of ricochet back in my life.
Mhm.
So that goes to show that, just sometimes people might say one thing, uh, which can leave a lasting impact on your life, and you don't even know it. And I'm sure there are many other things which I don't realize.
Yeah, this is
I
why,
think
like,
another, just like one more caveat over here. See, Sumitro and I are both university children. So we grew up amongst professors and teachers till a very, very late age of our lives. Like, I moved out of a university when I was 27. So when you are in that environment constantly, and there are teachers, professors, experiments, Nick's mom was a doctor. It's a very different sort of a setting than if you're outside it, right? Because university is all about pushing the envelope, reading something new, getting the knowledge. Uh, and and two of the probably least people who were oriented towards education were him and I. But our environment was such that there was no choice. You had to, you know, get these experiments. So what Gerhard said about exposure, it is everything, right?
so
If you get it early, you're very lucky.
one observation here is I think all of us come from a family of teachers and professors. Gerhardt's dad is a professor.
Yeah,
My mom and sister are elementary educators, teachers as
yeah.
well. And one thing that Simo, you said that kind of jumped out at me is, w- how kids learn on the playground is just by observing something, and they don't even realize that they're learning in
Yeah.
real time what good is and what bad is, and that's a mentor, right? It's pure peer-to-peer development. And what something triggered for me when you were explaining kind of your journey through that is that we never really grow up. So we're all that little kid version of us where we're observing other humans and like seeing something that's good, or they say something, or they have a
Yeah,
behavior or interest or a hobby, and you're like, "Ooh, I want that. Ooh, I don't like that about myself. I don't want to do that anymore." That
yeah,
never really ends, and it doesn't matter how old you are if you're learning it from someone older, younger, whatever. But it comes from people that you trust. That weight of whatever you have received is a lot more sticky if it's from
Mhm.
someone you trust, or at least there's a perception of trust.
yeah, and yeah, that's actually, this is another big. How do you know? Like when you're a kid, how do you know who to trust? That's another. I think I've just been lucky, probably. I really don't have that filter, and I because I know Ami, he's probably the complete opposite. I think Ami's first, reaction to people is that I don't know if I can trust this person or not. Like, you know, no, I don't mean it in a bad way. I just mean like, most people are like that, right? Like they are very they will not go ahead and start talk. My One of my favorite activities is to start talking to random people.
Wow.
It's just something which I like doing, which when you're a kid might be very, very harmful to you. I was just someone was telling me, a friend of mine had come and he come over to my place this Sunday, and he has like a 2-year old, and he's a lawyer. So he was saying, I have gone through so many cases, and I just realized that the number one reason for kidnapping in India, at least, is is kids are lured by chocolates. Like they are just shown a chocolate, and he's like, I have made sure my kid never loves chocolate. I'm never going to give him a chocolate because because he's a lawyer and he works for the government, and he gets all these cases all the time, and he went full paranoid mode and is very serious. He's like, why do kids love chocolate? Well, this is such a small thing. People get kidnapped for it. So I'm just saying, like, getting back to my original point that I had a very bad filter on who to trust. At least, like, how do I put it? I didn't have that filter knowingly. Maybe I had that filter unknowingly. So I've never had any untoward incident, or never had any, any kind of situation where I thought, why do I know this person? What the fuck? Why didn't I? Obviously, now my instincts are so much more developed, etc., etc., etc. I
Mhm.
deal with people, so it's easier for me, and also practice makes perfect. When you go over so many people, I just think it becomes better. It makes you a better judge, but how that happens I still don't know. So I'm very interested in knowing, like, how were you when you were kids, or what did you like? Did you trust everybody easily, or were you like, oh my god, like, why is this person trying to be friendly to me?
I mean, what's your take on that? And by the way, your puppy is adorable.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so his name is Divine. He's a
divine.
rescue. Yeah, he was rescued pretty much a bus stop away from here, and it's his bedtime. So he was like, "What's going on?" Um,
I,
my
my recording has stopped.
Yeah,
Yeah, I told you, right?
I'm gonna
Just,
mark
just
this because you have to free up browser storage.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get the app actually. It said get the app. How do I get the app? Okay. I think app will be better. Ah, this
I,
sucks.
it's okay. I just marked that.
No
You're all right.
problem.
You can totally take a time out, and by the time Nico gets to the app, I can tell you guys about Divine, who I was cycling a couple of years back in the rain and just found him on a bus stop abandoned, and he was with two of his sisters, and I adopted all three of them. The sisters were beautifully white, and people adopted them. He looks very indie, so he was having a hard time getting adopted. And then once a puppy stays with you for 3 weeks, he's not going anywhere. So
Absolutely.
that's how. Now I have three rescue dogs, and he's the most pampered one.
What's his name?
Divine.
Okay, how do you
Lovely.
do you guys know how to okay, I mean, you got the app, right?
Yeah, but I got it for Mac.
Oh,
So
is it for
So
is
if
that the problem?
do you have any browser
I
tabs open? Anything
Yeah,
else
I
open?
have tons
Maybe
of browsers open. Should I close
just
them?
just close all of them. It'll give you the space.
Yeah, close everything you have for now, and then have only Riverside open. This should be fine.
Okay, I'm closing my email and stuff as well, which is not on browser. Everything on my browser you meant, right?
Yeah, all the tabs, just close them और कोई browser खुला है तो वो भी बंद कर दो.
हाँ, वो तो कर रहा हूँ मैं. Chrome. Okay, should I rejoin this? I'm just gonna kill this and then I'll rejoin, I guess. Or no?
I think you're good if it.
I think you stay. It should tell you that it's recording again though.
It says up 60 when the recording is done. It says so I don't know the status if it's recording or not. That's the problem.
Is it showing uploading or something?
It says upload now. It's 67. So I guess it's uploading now.
Yeah, perfect.
So that
Okay,
means it's
hold on.
working. So we
Should I
can do
delete
like
browsing data? Should I go to history and delete browsing data as well?
no. If you close the tabs, it's more than enough.
Yeah, I've closed all the tabs.
Let's see. Yeah, it
It
looks
is
like
uploading. It is uploading, but slowly.
It's fine. The uploading is fine. As long as it's uploading, it's good. Do you have any warning message still? If not,
No, I don't have anything now.
then we can just continue.
All right, I'm gonna
Okay.
hit mark clip again, and we'll just go back into it. I don't remember where we were. You guys remember?
Yeah. You just ask me once again, Ami, what do you think about it, and I'll start from there.
Well, I'm gonna say that again then. All right, cool. 3, 2, 1, mark. So, Ami, what do you think about that? What's your response to that?
Yeah, like Sumo said, right? When you grow up together, exact opposite. So he has a friend circle of 10,000 people. I have a very close friend circle of 15 people over 4 countries, right? So that is how different we are. And it could also be that he would befriend everybody and I would, whatever, end up fighting the bullies or something like that. And then it's also the job, right? He leads teams of, or he has led teams of thousands of people. I have worked in trust and safety. It's my natural filter to figure out where is the bad conversation happening. And I don't know if you got divine on the recording, but I naturally tend to be a lot more closer to dogs and cats and animals than humans. Any given time, it's been since childhood, and I have no shame in saying that that's a much preferred company, or it should be very high quality people. Like I I don't like shallow conversations in my private time as an entrepreneur, somebody leading go to market, and everybody here leads that for their companies. We have to talk to a lot of people, and that's fine. But that 1 hour of peace that we have, with all honesty, like I could sit with Sumo for hours and not even chat, but that's more high quality time for me. So the 15, 16 people I love on this planet, I would preserve all my private time just for them and not have a 17th in there plus. But with all having said that, thankfully I've met very wonderful, great human beings along this journey of life, right? I mean, Sumo has known me all my life. uh, Justin has been a mentor without even being a mentor. I haven't met him in person ever, but is somebody who I literally text just out of the blue on the most random stuff, and Gerhard interacting with you just for 3 months. I mean, if you think about it, the first time I ever spoke to you was during 11 Dunbar. But so whatever it is, whatever magnet it is, or whatever North Star it is, I think you tend to attract the sort of people you want to have in your life, and others kind of just go away. But yeah, I do have a very high filter for people, just probably because I've handled more criminals in my life than normal folks. So that's just where we come from, I guess.
So if y'all are on a hike in the middle of the woods, the two of you and Sumo, and a person approaches walking a dog, Sumo's going to say hi to the person, and you're just going to make eye contact with the dog, right? Yeah.
And
Maybe
1 second
the other way around.
we'll know the person. Sorry, go ahead.
Maybe the other way around. I think I might be like just going and playing with the dog, and Ami might be like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
So it, it's just something which we should think about. So, but no, but my real question was like like how do you when you were kids, did it come to you naturally to be wary of? And again, I think it also has to do with cultures. Like for example, our parents would tell us, if any stranger gives you any food to eat, don't eat it, because when we were kids, like I was telling you, what my friend recently told me was a very common phenomena. If you're traveling in a train, some conmen would come and give you some good food, and then the whole family goes to sleep, and then they rob him or whatever. So we were always told, like, don't talk to strangers, don't eat from strangers, etc., etc. I think I disregarded all that, which says a lot about me. But I'm like, I don't know how it is you know for you, Justin, or for you, Gerard. Like, how was it growing up? Because I do believe the Western world is a more trust based society, right?
I would say
So
there are moments in your life. Not everyone goes through this, but there are moments in your life in which I call it like the veil of reality is lifted for you, and there are many of them. So you grow up by default very trusting. There's no reason to suspect that any human or person or whatever is going to cause you harm or has ill intent or has
right,
some nefarious thing. And then something happens, inevitably, I think, for a lot of people. And when that happens, your body remembers it forever. Even if you don't mentally, you might repress the memory. And it doesn't have to be about assault or abuse necessarily. Those are extreme
right,
versions. It could be a moment of shame, usually.
yeah,
And if you're shamed in front of someone, in front of a family member or a peer, by another peer, by a family member, you will carry that energetically in your body forever until you find a way to release it, let it go, heal it, whatever that thing is. And it shapes who you are as a result. So yeah, I grew up very trusting. We didn't lock our doors. I grew up in a town of 800 people. And then probably until I was around, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old, did the first reality defining moment hit me that changed the way that I perceived people, just in general people. And I don't think this is going to throw anyone under the bus, but it was a neighbor of my grandparents, and I remember going over to the neighbor that lived right next door, and I went over to pick up a Nintendo game, and the grandfather, the dad, was sitting on the patio in his screened in front end porch. I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and I went in to borrow this Nintendo game that was Life Force. It was a Konami game. Life Force was incredible. It was awesome. The space shooter with like 6 levels and stuff. So
yeah,
good. And I remember walking in, and on the front porch, he was sitting there, and now I know he was drinking a beer. And I don't remember what he said to me because I've repressed it, but the way he looked at me and some of the stuff he was saying to me gave me such the willies. I could feel it all over my body that I turned around and didn't go in the house. I kind of backed away slowly, and he didn't threaten me. He didn't yell. It wasn't anger, but there is something that my body remembers that my mind doesn't, that was very off about whatever he said. And I walked away, and it wasn't until maybe a couple months ago through some meditation session or someone said something to me that triggered that memory, and I was like, "Oh shit, that happened." So again, that for me, that was the first veil of like people. Sometimes there's something about people that aren't people, and for me, the lasting memory is this is why I don't drink. Is people that drink, I have a hard time understanding that someone is drunk, and I just can't place why they're acting the way that they're acting because I don't get drunk. So it's very off-putting, and I think it stems from that very earliest memory of interacting with someone who probably was drunk and said something that was really off to me, but they looked like a normal human. So yeah, man, yeah, lots of stories on that. Gerhard, how about you?
Yeah, I was just reflecting. I think for me, probably more on sumo camp. I think I think I have it from my mother. She's also like very open, talks to everyone, makes friends very quickly wherever she goes. And I mean, I did have my, how to say, like, how do you say that, the whale of reality
mhm,
moments of people. I think yeah, plenty. I think it is just my nature. I kind of like, for me, I feel like there's the upside of trusting and going with an open mind into the world, and trusting people to first is higher than, when there's like a few people who then, fuck you up, and you take some, I don't know, it's like not a good feeling if someone like, yeah, just shows you that your trust was not worth it. Um, I think the upside is like, for me, what I've learned is like way more satisfying, or like gratifying for going through the world. And I think there's like something I once remembered. Tina Selig, she's a professor at Stanford on creativity. Amazing person. I love her books. And she talks about like how you actually can increase luck in your life. Like, and she always describes this metaphor of like having a sail. That the wider you span it, the
Mm.
higher your chance you catch wind. And I think it's more like keeping your sail open, and then your chances increase to capture the right amount of wind wherever you are right now. And yeah, I think it was a mixture of my question actually back to this is like, so we go through life, and all of us met people in our lives that left a mark on us. Let's keep on the positive side, like really changed us in a significant way. Do you think sometimes, how does this happen? Like sometimes there are people come into a life, they stay for a period, a moment, short moment, maybe longer. People like completely out of nowhere come into life, leave a mark on you that really changes you. Where did it come from? Why do we have these interactions? Do you think there's like it's complete
So
randomness, or is it like
if
a
you
guiding, there's
believe
no guidance there?
if you believe that we have been coming back to this earth over and over again, if you believe in that fact, then everybody that you meet and everybody who leaves an impression or not were always meant to. And sometimes you would notice that there are people who might be very hard on you, or not hard on you, but you're not the most comfortable with them, but you keep going back to them. It might happen, it might not happen with everyone, but most people that we meet now, if you believe in that whole notion, obviously you'll have to kind of take a leap of faith here, that we are going to keep coming back to this world until our purpose is met, or whatever that purpose is. That's for everyone to discover. uh, till that is not complete, we'll keep coming back here. And everyone who we feel uncomfortable about, we have to confront them.
Mm.
Until we do that, until that's done, because it's so, I have seen, and this is just from things that I've read, things that I've understood myself, things that I've seen. uh it's accumulation of all of that. It might be completely off, but uh this is something which I have noticed sometimes, that this sense of relief that everyone has, right? That everyone feels that there is some relief in us, and it happens on events happening or not happening. It is when you confront something, right? People keep saying confront your demons, confront your demon. What does that mean? So I think that these people who come and leave some impression, maybe sometimes just like maybe few minutes, few hours, few days, few years. I think they were always meant to be there for us, and we don't choose it. It happens, right? Obviously, now we can say it's probability, and there is all kinds of science which kind of will tell us why it happens. But why that particular person, we don't know. Same way, like we don't know why all the cells in our bodies are same, but why something becomes a nose, and why something becomes an eye, and why something becomes an ear, nobody knows. All the cells are the same, right? All humans are the same like that. But we do end up meeting some people because we were always meant to meet them, and for good or for bad. And then, good or for bad, we have to confront them. Like, Justin, what you said, that your whole, and the fact that it was deep, anything which is deep inside us is actually a bad thing, and it has to come out. And obviously, as kids, we can't confront adults who probably was drinking, probably said something which in his head might have not been something bad either. He
Yeah.
might have not even given it a second thought, you know what I mean? But because you don't have the ability to confront, that means there is something unchecked there. You will have to one day in this life or the other or whatever, will have to confront that person. And how do you do it and how it happens, you never know. And relationships is the same thing. Like sometimes your wife might be your mother in your next, in your next life, might be your friend, might be, someone you hate. We don't know. So
There's a summary to what you said though is I firmly believe now, like that person's long gone, so I can't do that. Maybe died many years
right,
ago.
right.
But these things happen for us, not to us. Most things in life
Well,
they happen for you, and it's an opportunity to learn and grow and evolve and reflect. And that has taken me a long, 42 years to learn that lesson. But yeah, these things happen for us, right? And that's what's so beautiful about life is you get the opportunity to reflect and assess. How about you, Ami? Do you have any like people that you bumped into your life that really sat you on a good path, like that brought out your creativity or your entrepreneurship side or just helped you grow in some way?
Also, like why
So
you think
entrepreneurship
this happens.
is sorry, what were you saying, Gerard?
Also, like why you think this happens? Like, why?
Yes, I think couple of points there, right? So two spectrums one can almost see. Everything happens for a reason, and it's everything is totally random. Let's say these are the two extremes of the graph. And I honestly believe in this one, but the other one might be right as well. But hey, it's my life and my thought process to believe. And I completely believe in exactly what Sumitra said. And I think three of us are on the same page. So this podcast is not very confrontational. But um, people impact us depending upon what they are also going through. So that person, their impact might be good on us and they are having a great time and they had all the resources. It was still a good day. Or they were the most evil piece of human life that came our way. But it was just because that was the day they were facing, right? That was what they have faced. So um, they curb us, they make us do things, they make us develop in various fashions. I don't remember, but just like you said, Justin, that I think I was 7. I remember that very clearly. I came from a town where there was no English spoken, right? In Varanasi, it's a holy town, so my English wasn't good. And then I came to Delhi, to one of the most posh schools in Delhi, and then my English was made fun of. It was probably the only time in my life I was ever bullied. I don't even remember who bullied me, whatever. But what it made me do till today is I automatically stand up for the weak guy. Like it's a default setting in me,
Mm,
physically, metaphorically, in a conversation on a panel doesn't matter. But if you're picking on the weak person, if you're picking on a strong person, it's fine. True, speak truth to the power. I'll stand by you. But if you're picking on the weak guy, and I think it comes from that experience when I was 7, and I don't even remember it. Like I don't remember the experience, but I know it happened back then. So, but that shaped a lot of good in me, right? Probably trust and safety
mm,
comes directly from there. Probably the ability to be very brave. Because as an entrepreneur, Gerard, you were asking, uh, being brave is a big part of it. And I think, Justin right here, who was probably the first entrepreneur I knew personally. Like I did not know any. I had the privilege of working with Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg and all of that, but it was all about work. I never knew them as people. Probably the first guy I knew as a person who was also a CEO was Justin, and he was very brave because he was going through ups and downs when each other came in our lives. But it taught me that entrepreneurship is about being very brave, and you take care of your team. And while people talk about, I don't know, hustle and this and that, there is a lot of empathy between your team and the world, which you need to bring in. And I learned it from folks like him, or I mean, there I must say, Jack as well was very empathetic towards his team, right? So um, people like that, or people like Mr. Arun Kapoor, who was my school director, and it is very important where he let people be. You don't have to become friends with Gerhard and turn him into Ami. You have to become friend with Gerhard, who's a very different person. And it is not easy to become friends with people who are not like you.
mm,
But to appreciate Sumitra for who he is and not have conversations, have fights, but like the person for the person he is.
mm,
That individuality is something that this person gave in. So I think people come in your life, and now I'm a total believer of manifestation and destiny for what has been happening in my life for the last 5, 10 years. It's almost like if you can envision it very, very clearly in your mind, you just have to flow towards it. It's effortless. The first part is very difficult, like clarity of vision. And now I get it. Why does every VC says, oh, you don't have a clear vision? Clarity of vision is very difficult. But once you have that, then you are just flowing towards it. People will come, they will assist you, they will say, go here, go there. So that's a lived experience of the last 3 years. I've almost manifested the things I want to be done, and they just happen. So I completely believe in it.
It's so beautiful to listen to this because what you just said, that you have you're kind of like integrated, embodied, let's say like this one moment where you were bullied into a very positive drive in your life. And I think this is what many people, maybe this very difficult concept to understand how to face how the actually universe works, that we have good, like we go through the struggle, like really painful periods sometimes, traumas, triggers, intense moments in your life. And most of the
So
time, long term, yeah. I mean, what do you want to say?
yeah, I mean, I have a very like I completely agree that to change you have to give up something, right? Like
Mhm.
it's a very I keep on saying this statement in Hindi just for Sumitro, and we can chat about it tomorrow. It's like badlav balidan mangta hai. So if you have to change something, you have to give up something. I believe it. But, and this is true for contrails, when you do it by choice, right? So for example, if you have to lift something heavy, you'll complain like, why is this briefcase so heavy? But when I go in the gym, I don't complain, right? So when it is by choice, then the change is not difficult. Then the price you're paying is not the price you're paying. You're having fun because you chose it. The hustle part, I don't think the entrepreneur even realizes it's a hustle. They are like, I'm living my life. Like I wouldn't be doing anything else. And and that part is extremely important. That is it a choice? Did you do it by choice? Or did it happen to you, right? Um, were you pushed into the situation? You might still come out as a winner. But
Mhm.
when you train like an athlete, the athlete puts their bodies through pain to play that wonderful game for an hour, right? So uh, it's difficult, yes, but if it's by choice, you love it. You love every day of it. If you're pushed into it, even if you get $1 billion, but it's your dad telling you to run certain business, you might not even like it. You might want to be a dancer or a painter or something like that. So I think choice is a very important part. And what we were discussing earlier, if we know that it is our choice that we are on this podcast, we are in this company, we are meeting this person, it's very different than if a random person meets us on the road, right? These are two very, very different scenarios because of your own orientation, I believe.
100%. One thing that came to my mind is like, choose the things that are look for someone else hard, but for you it's like play. Choose the things that for you are play, but for the outside people look at this like, oh, this looks difficult. How can you do this? But for you, it's just play. It's just pure joy. There's like not much like effort being made. And I think also to the previous point, I just re-listened. I read so much about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Great guy, really good guy. I mean, like the biography is amazing. I listened to a podcast while I was running, and I like it because, like, of course, Schwarzenegger is a very flawed person, and he's aware of it. He's very aware of like where he was very flawed and the mistakes he had made. But one thing he said, like, the reason why a big driver, positive driver, and this optimistic attitude was because of the lack of emotional love he received when he was a child. He's aware of it. There's always this running trend right now that all millennials are like millennials, millionaires or billionaires are driven by trauma and trigger. It might be very true, and I think it's what Schwarzenegger showed. Like he has used that with full awareness to turn it a very positive energy that drove him out of like from the setbacks of Austria to becoming governor of California. And I think it's like, yeah, what Justin said, things happen to us, for us. And if we know how to actually understand this and also like face this uncomfortable notion that how the universe may work. We don't know really fully, but yeah, there's meaning in all of it. I really believe there's meaning in everything that happens to or for us. Yeah.
And this is why play and imagination, along with nervous system regulation, is so important, because if you forget how to play and you never learn how to regulate your nervous system, then whenever these things do happen, you will always be ruled by your emotions, and you'll react or overreact. You don't take a moment to pause or reflect or do the thing that you need to do to observe that, to observe yourself, not even observe the other person or thing, but just observe yourself and what's actually happening. So yeah, I mean, you know, learning how to regulate that stuff and to pause and to give space and just appreciate the emotion that's coming through and not let it rule you and define you in all of your actions, especially in personal life, but it can happen in business too. Man, it's like it's important. Like, you stay cool, man. Like, be cool. Everybody settle down. Whatever you want to say it as. Like, there's a lot of truth to these things. Because otherwise you can cause yourself a lot of pain, and you just don't learn from it. And then you just start off with a bunch of you statements and why this other person or other thing is causing you all this grief. But really, it's just coming from within, you know.
Mhm.
And then if you
Oh,
learn how to,
I I so resonate with that, and this is a practical example, right? The play part.
Mhm.
Throughout my life, I avoided accounting and Excel sheets, right? Like, I have hired teams, I have made roles so that I don't have to do this job. Till about we started contrails, we did not have the money, it couldn't happen. And then finally, one day I was like, no, this is not boring, this is a game. And then I started filling Google Sheets literally like a video game. Like, like I started playing with myself, timing myself. Just imagine, like, as if it was you were talking about Nintendo. Think of this like Mario Brothers or Contra, where you have to go to places and do stuff. I swear to God, I'm still worse than the three of you. But I have so much fun at Google Sheets right now. It's like it's my favorite part of the day. It's like I look forward to Google
Wow.
Sheets, and it's a total turnaround. Like, you can ask my previous team, and you can ask Digi, my current
I
co-founder.
love Google Sheet. I will have to interject and probably punch them or something. I'm sorry, no matter how much fun you have, you can't say it publicly. Who says I love Google Sheet? What? No, you love eating meat. That's what you actually love. You don't love Google Sheet. You say that to yourself. You know what Justin was saying? You have to look in like who you are. You really need to look into who you are, man. It's not good. I'm sorry. This triggered me. I can go on a rant about like sheets and Excel sheets and consultants and all of that, which will go into a very different direction. I've done it before. And Justin, you said that you don't like alcohol. Believe me, you love me on alcohol. But just kidding. Like, I'm not promoting alcohol in any way. But but please, this really triggered me. I was being very nice and not interrupting, which I do, and then he just said something which I couldn't stop. Why would you say like no? What? No, 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 no. Nobody loves. It's like saying when I was a kid, I love being an accountant. Nobody loved being an accountant when they were kids. People wanted to become like me, wanted to become smugglers or like criminals.
So speaking of which, what was the first thing you knew you wanted to be? So let's say kindergarten, 5, 6 years old. Was it a smuggler? Was that the thing you wanted
Yeah,
to be?
yeah. I couldn't even say smuggler. I said muggler. And my mom thought like she had given birth to some evil person which was the bane of her life. And one of my uncles, my dad's very good friend, said, just relax. It's a phase, don't worry. And my mother, even though understood child psychology pretty well, but when it comes to your own children, they get very, because I would also pick up like these my one of my dad's friend had these rare coins, and every time I would pick them up, and my mom was like, stop stealing stuff. And then and then she's like, oh, he's going into that path. And then when I grew a little bit older, I had this and my cousins really know about this well. I don't think I've ever shared this with Ami as well. Where I wanted to, there was a very, like Nike, there was a very popular brand called Bata in India, and I wanted to white label them. I didn't even know what white labeling was, but I knew in my business plan that I want to white label them and sell them and make a profit. So yeah, man, like when I was a kid, that was definitely my dream,
Oh,
to become the evil overlord.
That's hilarious.
that's awesome.
Ami, was yours in fact Google Sheets when you were a kid, or was it something else?
Ah, I still haven't grown up on the money part of things in my life, so it was never attracted to money. I think if I remember correctly, it probably comes from video game. I wanted to be a professional, dirt biker. Those bikes you can
Ooh,
jump around.
man.
Yeah, it was a very simple 3-4 pixel game. So probably that, and then photographer and basketball player and all. And I think more than the money, it's always been about the activity. Like the money part is fine, but uh, for me, the activity really matters, and that's where the play and the other part of the is the present. Like
Mm.
one thing which I'm still working on, and I don't know, mindfulness, whatever you want to call it, is to pull myself back to where I am right now. Yes, we need to be great, we need to do a lot tomorrow.
Present.
But what we have done so far, where we stand today, is is awesome, amazing, great, wonderful, and thankful to a billion people out there who made that happen. So that's the other part as well. I think for mature life, play is important, but present is equally important, right? When you're
Mm.
on the podcast, be on the podcast. When you're with your wife, with your friend, with your dog, be there. When you work, be there. Don't let the mind run away. And I read a lot about this. Probably the most I've read about is that this is where the primitiveness shows up, that it was designed to keep you alive, right? But there are no tigers or famines. I mean, the, our lives are very safe right now, so we could, like Justin said, chill. We can enjoy the max and the protected environment that we live in, and be very grateful about it.
Mm.
We got good health, we got working limbs, we got enough to eat tomorrow. That is more than enough than most of our forefathers had 5,000 years back, right?
Mhm.
So I, I really focus on that as well.
To be clear, to Sumo's point, we have this co-stewardship model. If your pod is tasked with building a game and a gift for the community, and it involves anything to do with spreadsheets, I'm going to veto it for sure.
My man.
Yeah. But I mean, I would love to see a Google spreadsheet game. If you can make it fun, it's you. If anyone
Yeah,
can make it fun.
if it's a game, man, like I get it, but come on, like,
But also, like if it's very beautiful, like Xiaomi was said, like you play to be present. I think I think it's one of the most overlooked attributes of a person that you like in relationships or anywhere. If you have someone in your life who is present with you, it's so overlooked, this trait in a person. Like they look at like, how much money do you have? How do we go for brunch? Do we do that and that and that and that? It's very focused on the materialistic layer, but being present is like the highest gift we can give to each other. And actually being present is actually one of the prerequisites of play. You can't really fully play if you're not present. So it's very nice that you said that. Hey, Justin,
Totally. And
your early childhood
yeah,
dream.
what did you want to become? I just wanted to ask both of you.
We covered this with on Emily's podcast. I look every in kindergarten they go around a room and ask everyone what you want to be when you want to grow up. And there was the doctors, the lawyers, all the standard stuff. And mine was I wanted to be a ninja turtle, like straight up ninja turtle. So I
man.
probably was in fighting crime and catching all the little sumos out there smuggling shit around the world.
Which one? There were four of them, right? Donatello, Michelangelo, all of them. Which one were you?
Leonardo, man, the swords. It's
Oh,
sometimes
you didn't like Michelangelo? I think when we were kids, everyone loved Michelangelo. He used to have, yeah, I know they didn't have the cool weapon, but I thought he was such a cool guy, man. Like,
in the video game, the arcade games, I would always pick Leonardo because the weapons. So I kind of
me
grabbed.
too. That's true. Me too. But I loved Michelangelo because of the fun character that he was. He loved pizzas. He said cowabunga. Who said cowabunga? Like,
People who love spreadsheets.
Yeah.
That's too funny.
What about you, Gerhard? What did you want to be?
So it actually was so good in the previous podcast episode. I remembered. I was a huge fan of James Bond. My dad recorded all the classic James Bond movies, Sean Connery, Roger Moore, that in the small cassettes. Remember. And I watched all of them so many times. There was this one episode, a movie where they were in space. I forgot the title of the James Bond, but I wanted to become a secret agent. And I was like 8, 9, 10 years old, 11. I Googled the MI6 homepage in London and researched how to apply, because in Austria we didn't have a secret service, really a good one. So yeah, didn't really turn out that way. But I was like, damn it, why I was born in Austria, not in UK or US, where I could go to the CIA or NSA. But it was on my list to become a secret agent. Yeah, and then hunt sumo.
Wow, that's insane. And that's sometimes I think maybe it's my lack of imagination that I never wanted to become like a character, like how you saw James Bond, you're like, oh, I want to. I don't, and this is again, it goes back to that same thing, like, like about filters, which I was asking you guys, like when you were a kid, did you have that filter kind of built in where you saw a person and you were like, oh, I can't, like, can't associate, whatever. Same thing, like, even if I saw something and I found it very cool, I never wanted to become that person. Like, is this an imagination thing? It's like I would love to explore this
This is
about myself.
very, very.
Like,
Yeah, like it just reminded me. So this was actually it ties back to what we talked about, like things that happen in our lives as children. And I think one of the things I realized, it was crazy for me, this healing journey 2 years ago. I thought it's quite normal that you don't remember things from your childhood. And
right.
I have almost no memories between the age of 6 to 9 from my home, only from outside. It's very strange. And then a very close friend of mine, Max, I mentioned in the podcast already, helped me a lot in this area. I went to a workshop. It was a somatic healing workshop. And boy, memories came up from that time. And it was just, I grew up in a household where my parents were not happy. It was very like suffocating. They were screaming a lot. There was no violence, just like very suppressing energy. And as a little child, when your nervous system is kind of like completely like this, you can't handle it as a little kid, and there's no one there to help you regulate. Your nervous system shuts down, and you stop. The memory part just disappears, and everything
Right.
just stops in subconscious. But what I realized, this this period of my life, because I kind of like retreated to my room, it allowed me to just use my imagination to escape. And I think this was one of my like this is one of this, what I talk about, like very, you can say very like traumatic experience of one's child in your life. But the positive aspect of this is like this imagination, like there's some play. I played a lot of by myself, I think, because you ask, how was it? Like, I think, yeah, I was very like lost in my imagination and play.
No, because it's true, right? Because till the age of 6, your parents' trauma kind of goes to, and that's the reason probably why it happens, because how your parents behave even behind closed
Mhm.
doors, even if you
Yeah.
can't see it. Our genetics make sure that all of that is passed on, and obviously there is generational trauma on top of that.
100%.
You know, uh, so there is definitely, I definitely think that's a very big element of it, of how kids and their memories and how they work. I to be honest, I don't even know what it was for me. I had a pretty good childhood, to be honest. My parents were generally very nice. I think I was the one who was doing the shouting, who was upset because I was not, I was not given, given the kind of, freedom which I thought was everyone's right, and the kind of, yeah, it is true, because it's so funny, because when I grew up. And even when I was in college, none of these things mattered to me. And I used to find it so funny how I was when I was a child, because it really mattered to me that, my parents weren't like millionaires or billionaires. It really impacted, like, my friends never made me feel bad, I didn't have like we stayed in a pretty decent place. We grew up in a university. In fact, probably a better place than most people stayed in, because it was super green. We had huge homes, like, we had access to most of the things. So maybe it's all inside me. Who knows? But it was definitely me who was doing all the uh, you know, shouting. So it's very, very the curious case of Nico is what I would love to kind of figure out, like, through various things that I've tried, just in, like, you have had, experiences which you've spoken about in different, forums and stuff. So I've had different experiences. I've really tried to go there. Maybe that's the bottom end. Who knows? Like, nobody knows this.
There's
So
another.
Sumitra's dad, Professor Chatterjee, is the exact opposite of this young man. He was a gentleman throughout, one of the most quietest. That typical English gentleman who only speaks when you are supposed to
Yeah.
speak and speaks a lot of sense. And this is famous throughout the university. And even while growing up, the most gentlest soul ever. And none of the kids ever had any friction with his dad whatsoever. His mom, different story. I was the pick of the lot. We created a lot of hallucination, but yeah, a very different person altogether. I actually had this question because, and then because we spoke about healing, right? And Justin spoke about it, and a couple of folks, even in our 11 Dunbar, shared it. Um, it seems to be something which a lot of folks, especially in the age group of 30 to I think 50, and even in India, but more so in the West. And oh, I just want to go for the the inception to this step, right? That what makes you, or how did it come to you that, okay, I mean, you guys are really successful folks. What made you think that this is something, or this is a workshop we want to do? What was that first trigger that said, hey, this is something I should try out? And it could be completely different for all three of you.
Justin, you will go first.
I mean, do you mean Ami in terms of 11 Dunbar, like starting 11 Dunbar, or just in general?
Healing, I think. But like the
Healing?
I
first.
think healing even before 11 Dunbar, like because you've also done similar workshops like the one which
Like,
Graham
why would
said.
you go to? I think Justin is asking, why would you go to a shaman, or like
Oh
what
yeah,
prompted you to
yeah,
discover things beyond the realm of who
yeah,
we are and who we deal with on a daily basis,
yeah.
and to kind of look inside you. I
I think,
mean, I don't know if I'm saying the right thing.
yeah, that's good. I appreciate that, Simone. Yeah, that's helpful. I think there's 3 stages. There's a whole concept I've and I don't think I created this. I just think about it a lot. But Gerhard and I talked a lot about this in the last like 6 months. There's a concept of like caterpillars, cocoons, and butterflies. Caterpillars are like seeking some sort of growth, and if you're in the cocoon, you're in the growth, you're in the healing, you're with the shaman or the retreat or whatever, meditation, whatever. And then the butterflies, that's like you've let go of the things, you've given up the things, as we said before, and now your responsibility is to take flight and to also be of service to others to help them through that journey as well. But to your question, the caterpillar stage, I think there's 3 levels within the caterpillar stage. There's the first, like, you're experiencing a thing, you have this pull and you're just crawling towards the thing, but you don't really know what you're crawling towards, but you keep getting these signals or these signs that, like, the path that you're on or the thing that you're experiencing, it keeps being painful and you're reminded of the pain. And then they're in the second phase of the caterpillar, which is like you then start to recognize the signs of, I there's this ceremony I should go do. There's this cacao thing. There's this plant medicine thing. Oh, there's this breathwork thing. Oh, there's meditation. Like I keep hearing it over and over, and then you start to kind of crawl towards it a little bit, and that you're still not sure really what it's about, but you're like, oh, I'm interested in it enough to be curious. So the curiosity is sparked. And then you have the third level of the caterpillar, which is like all right, now I'm crawling towards that thing. I've got a little taste of it and it feels good. Now I need to go figure out where can I seek this out? Where are the communities? Where are the people? And then you start crawling towards that healing journey and then you're in it. Then you enter the cocoon before you know it. And that step between the third level of the caterpillar and the first level of the cocoon is very thin, right? You don't even know that you've made that transition because you've been crawling with intention for some time. So I think that's how I experience it. Like, and you go through these metamorphoses many, many times throughout your life. And you may be a caterpillar right now and a butterfly right now at the same time in many areas of your life. So for me, that caterpillar stage is really important because when I was younger, I was so closed or going through some stuff that maybe not able to see signs or to see offers of help or whatever, and so you're not ready for it until you learn that lesson, and when you're ready to learn that lesson, then you're, like Gerhardt was saying, your cell is now wider, and you're now actually able to capture signals or patterns or awareness of like, now my heart or my mind is now open to this type of thing because I recognize that what I've been doing isn't gonna change anything. If I keep doing the same stuff, having the same patterns, I'm gonna end up where I am. And and there's a caveat here. There's a massive curveball to the caterpillar, and I would call this, making this up on the fly here, it's like the shoe, the shoe to squish the caterpillar. And what that is like it's a life event, like, it's a near-death experience, it's a major health scare, it's the death of a family member or a friend. There's something that could happen in your life, and I would argue there's maybe 100 of these, maybe 200 that ever happen in your life. It's your first kiss, the first time you move across the country, your first job, your first time you get fired, marriage, divorce, first kid, death of a family member, death of a friend. Like, you have, like, 100 to 200 of these that are just earth-shattering events. And if you're in the right frame of mind, it will accelerate you from that caterpillar stage to the cocoon stage really quickly because you have an opportunity to reassess your relationship to time, family, friends, spirituality, God, substances, everything in the world around you. And that veil is lifted, and you can do the real work to then start to crawl with intention to capturing the things that you want. And then all of a sudden, you'll start recognizing, you're like, dang, I've never heard of that word breath work before, but now I'm seeing it all the time. You were seeing it all the time before. You just weren't ready for it, and now you are, and then you can crawl towards it, right? So it can happen either from within, and you feel that pull, and that's the breadcrumbs of maybe your past self, your future self, your highest self, or whoever, like kind of leading you in that way until you're ready. Or it could be a major life event that helps you just kind of lift the veil, wake up, and say, "I need to do something different to shake at it." That's my take, at least.
Did was there though a event which, because for example, I've had all sorts of kind of friends who have been talking about this for a very long time, and then I was always attracted towards it, so it was very easy for me to experience certain things in my life. Uh, and if you go with open mind, obviously it always helps. But like there was never any event which was like, oh, I really need to understand who I am. I always felt it was the most normal thing to do. So, but for a lot of people I've heard, they're like, I have had issues with my mom, and then I have never been able to resolve them. And then this helped me resolve these issues for me. So I hear this a lot, you know. So was there like just maybe, and maybe there wasn't like me, you were just attracted towards that path.
Both. I think it's a spectrum. Everyone's different, right?
Right, of course.
I've experienced it in both ways. Both the I just am this way 'cause I'm a Scorpio, so constant transformation and rebirth is just core to who I am. So I've reinvented myself so many times because you have to. But I've also had stuff happen for me, not to me, for me that has allowed me to reassess things too in a way. And as you get older, you get better at seeing this stuff. And then you maybe to your point, Sumo, you realize that that's just life. It's not about these big moments. It's just that's what
Yeah.
life is, this stuff happening for you all the time. And you get this opportunity to learn from it and grow, evolve it, and be a better human as a result of it.
No, absolutely, that's true. And Gerard, did you have any similar kind of a path, or was it just like
Yeah,
maybe because
I
as you
also didn't
said?
have like any like big moments like where like I was just like on the floor. It was like when I look back, and I still don't know how I made this decision. It was like 10 or 11 when my parents got divorced, And I first lived with my mom, and I was like, moved to different districts. All my friends in school were somewhere else, and so the divorce process was still ongoing. But then when it was the day where kind of like the kids decide with whom they live, we were sitting all four of us, and I said, I'm going to move to my dad. I was like, I'm going to choose my dad because like for me, I felt like it was the fairest thing to do because my dad was all alone. And there was such a clarity. I don't know where it came from. I was fucking 10, 11 years old. It's just like a clarity, like I need to go there. I need to go there. And if I don't say like my upbringing as teenager, living with my dad was not, it was very traumatic because it was just like a lack of drama. And like, I love my dad nowadays. Like we have a great relationship. It was a very not a good time, you know?
Right.
But it was the right decision looking back. And I think how I see it, there were moments in my life at 11, 18, 26 when I started meditating and whatever. I almost felt like there's like whatever is the guiding force ahead of us. Maybe it's a version already ahead of us. Time, there's no future past. Who knows? And it looks always like where is at the moment this soul, what can the soul understand? What is the desires? So we drop something here, the carrot, that the soul understands, and then we could move forward. Because all the decisions I made, there was like a very intuitive feeling I have to do something, but I never could explain why. And for me, there was always the biggest signal that I should do it. If I don't have a clear vision of how things should be, it was for me a yes, I need to do it. And every time I went the direction, even though it didn't turn out as I maybe thought, my mind made up things. It was the hindsight, always the dots always connect. So to your answer your question, for me, it was always like this. It's when I look back, it probably started with this day. That's what I'm asking. Probably started with this day, and there were many moments in my life where I still have it in front of me as clearly as I see you right now. The moment I made this decision, listened to whatever feeling came through, and over that time, this journey led me to living in 7 countries, doing meditations, with Zen monks, plant medicines, emotional health, startups, and whatnot. So and I'm sure there's still more for me to learn as a soul and mature. So yeah, I know. Hope it answered this question. I don't know yet. I'm still like, there's some. I always feel like
Oh,
sometimes,
perfect.
yeah,
Your level of clarity and the way you remember the events, I think, is higher than the other three over here. And it's probably because you spent a lot of time on it as well. I think that's the other factor, that whatever you spend time on, you end up getting good at, right? So if you spend time fretting about stuff, you just find problems everywhere. So
no,
I think
my childhood friend, my sumo version friend, we always joke that, like when there is a version of our both of us in the future us, and they leave these breadcrumbs for us. They just know exactly what we need right now, so they give it us, so we do it. I really believe in this. I believe in all what you said. I really believe in reincarnation, soul, and like their guides ahead of us, and we just have to trust, and that we have to trust the universe is always has your back. It's never against you. Never ever. It always works for you.
Yeah, I think it's
Only
like
for you.
and just signals also. It just we choose to ignore them.
Yeah.
It tells us exactly what we should be doing. For some people it's stronger, for some people it's weaker. Like some people choose to listen to it over and over again, and they go into a path of, and again I'm going to use the word success very loosely here. I just mean they go into the path which is meant for them. So if you listen to what the universe is telling you, I think you are mostly going to be happy, or happier, let's put it like that.
I would say
But if you choose to ignore it,
abundance, not success, is probably maybe a
well,
better.
Yeah.
yeah, well, absolutely. I just think that, you'll be in a state of exactly how you should be. That is another thing about happiness, and everybody keeps talking about happiness, but the thing is, state of mind is neither happy nor sad nor upset. State of mind is just state of mind. It is, you are living, and then you have all these external things like suffering, and then you're momentarily happy, then you go down and you're sad because your friend passed away, and then you're then you're again in a great mood, because you meet great people, or like you have some nice event which has happened to you. So I think it keeps going up and down, but I think one thing which is constant, and that's why I think Ami and I have also spoken about this, that it doesn't matter where you are. You might be in the most beautiful place in the world, and you might be the most upset person in this world, or lonely person in this world. And you might be in a shitty place, like, no amenities, nothing, and you might be the happiest person because, you've chosen certain way to think or certain way to look at life. Um, so I do think it's pretty simple but complicated. So we will obviously, all of us will discover it through games, like you have rightly said. That's a great way of finding out. You know, I loved what I'm sorry I have to reference this. I think we've spoken about this before, but Pasi shared this video of where they are like, I think 50, 60-year-old men who are playing with these toy cars. And I loved that video. I thought it was so fulfilling.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything. It required nothing, and it gave you everything. So I sometimes think that's the way to go, and then that really uh, makes your life, from what Ami is saying, like, manifestation of things. I sometimes think like manifestation also happens maybe way before you start thinking about it. Um, it is happening, and then you start thinking about it, and then you realize one day that, oh, this is something which I really need to go for. And then obviously we name it manifestation, but I think those are events which were already on that way, if we just align ourselves to that path. And when you're going to reach to that destination is not in our hands, I think. So sometimes we do, and then we are happy, and then and then pure maths comes into play, because it's just probability. Because sometimes you're going to reach faster, and then you're like, whoa, man, I thought about it for 6 days and I got it. And then you're thinking about something for 15 years, and you're still not, you can't become a smuggler. That's a big, no, I'm just kidding. But you just have to be like, I think sometimes you're gonna be at it, and you're not gonna also reach your destination, which is fine. I think journey is also very, very good, and it's good
I
to be
mean,
on that path and failing.
yeah.
And I'm sure Justin, Gerard, like Ami, all of you know it, because all of you have been entrepreneurs. You have built things. You know that failure is a great teacher. So sometimes the manifestation doesn't work. Let's put it like that.
And so I think I love what you said. That actually manifestation is already waiting for you. And I think so. Rick Rubin, we're reading it right now, and you will have it like
Yeah.
those things is more like a discovery process than a creation process. It's actually once you're ready, you discover it the same way we discovered math. We didn't invent math. Math was out there. It's in the nature. We just could observe it. And I love what Adam Watts. I love is what he framed is like this. It's neither a journey nor discovery. It's just a dance. Because the beauty of it is the dance. There's not really an end to it. There's no destination. You just dance to the tunes you play. Dance is also an act of playing, and a dance can be sometimes you lead, sometimes you're being led. And I think this participation is kind of like the key word I really like. Yeah. Hey guys, we're time is flying here. It's like
Yeah, way over time, guys.
it's like wow. I love it because this is the kind of conversation. The longer it lasts, the more interesting it gets. I could sit
And
with you
easy, and
all the
easier
time.
and easier to edit.
Yeah, wow, guys. We went. Wow. Oh man. So I want to leave you with one more last question. Justin, do you want to have one more last question for them?
I was going to ask the same thing that maybe you were going to
Yeah,
ask, which is
go.
really around what we want to have you guys ask a question for the next guest that's going to come on. If you could have one, you can make it spicy, provocative, soulful, playful, creative. Yeah, what's one question you want to ask the next guest, which I think will be Chad. I'm not.
Ted, yeah.
Yeah.
You can write it to us in WhatsApp so he doesn't listen to it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We are not supposed to say it now.
You can. Yeah. Good for it. What's the question? If you got it. If not, you can send it to us later.
Oh, okay, like that. No, I was just I was just generally thinking from what, what we were talking about before, right? Like what we wanted to become when we were kids. I think that's a very interesting question because it gives a lot of insight. Uh, to be honest, when you said Ninja Turtle, I could imagine you as one, and when Gerard said spy, I was like, oh wow, he really can be one. Like, the way he's so cool and is he and then my paranoid mind went into that kind of spiral rabbit hole. He's like, oh my god, is Gerard one? Did he actually become one? Like, is he now like, trying to take away the $15 that I have in my pocket? Like, you know what I'm saying? I, I, I really do like, I think it really kind of
Okay, not a
opened
smuggler.
up.
You're the smuggler here, Sumo.
Yeah, man. Like spies and smugglers do really work well. But I think that's a great question to ask anyone, right? Like, what was it that you imagined, or like, maybe it's multiple things. I also think I thought maybe multiple things. This is something which I remember obviously, and which had a great impact because, of course, my mom got upset, which was a great thing when I was a kid. Like, but I think it gives great perspective into people's mind, and then you can actually kind of, and brings out that playfulness in you and that imagination out of you. So I would love to kind of at least ask that question, and one secret question which I'll send you on WhatsApp so that
Perfect.
you know he's amazed.
I think I would like to ask him what would he advise his 20, like the younger self, like what he was 20 years ago? And the other word would be, what does he imagine his 20-year older self will advise to his present self today?
Mm,
So, just like a tree, you grow up, but your roots go down. So,
yep.
what do you think you would tell the guy back then? And
Yeah.
what do you think the guy up front is going to tell you 20 years from now? So, that would be my question because we spoke so much about childhood. Uh, which is a beautiful fantasy, and we love
Mhm.
it. But so should be being old, right? I mean,
Yes.
I would still love myself and my life when I'm 60 or 70. I don't know, 20 years from now.
There's a
So
really,
yeah, I would love
really,
to think.
really, really, really impactful meditation on death. I did it. I cried. My body it's insane. It's basically you go through your own funeral. And why this is so
Oh, nice.
powerful? Why this is so powerful is like the same asking your 90-year self, but also like going through facing death and really going through it. It just brings you clarity. It just brings you clarity. What you right now, what you should do.
Was it a meditation session? Because
Yeah.
I have thought about me dying so many times, and I have also cried.
Yeah.
But I think it's just ego. It's because I'm not kidding. Like I sometimes think it's also ego because it's so deep rooted, and that is such a personal thing. I think. Um, you know,
Yeah,
uh,
it's a Buddhist meditation,
nice.
and it's yeah, it's very powerful. It's very powerful. It's
I would
Buddhist.
I would love to do it. Like
Yeah, you can do it. I can
I
especially.
would love to
Yeah,
do it. Yeah,
awesome.
we
It'll
should talk more
it'll
about it.
kill all your anxiety in a second if you just
Yeah,
knew that all your problems that exist right now, if
100%.
Yeah.
you were to die tomorrow, 99.9% of them you wouldn't even care about.
Yeah. Most
Like,
of them.
dude,
Most. Yeah.
they don't even matter.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, this was wonderful, guys. I think one important part, and probably we didn't speak about it a lot, but maybe in your talk with Chad, and this is where the 60-year-old tells you is where do you see us going as 11 Dunbar, right? We started. This is what is that? The cocoon to the caterpillar, somewhere there, I'm guessing. Let's call it step two. Step one was the start, which is the toughest. So cheers to both of you. But what is step three? What is everybody thinking? What are the founding members thinking about step three? This is not just on Gerard and Justin. It is equally so much on Nico, me, Pasi, Chad, Florence, everybody who's a part of this journey forward. So just are we even thinking? and like in my long flight, it is actually like what am I going to talk to other 11 Dunbarians when I meet them in a SF is actually a point written there that what are we thinking?
Yeah,
So maybe a question for him.
I think it's awesome. I think maybe I love it. Let's have this actually for the next town hall, maybe as a little exercise. Everyone can ask it. We can ask everyone this question. If you can't attend, they can send us what they wrote, and then we can just bring it up in the town hall together. I think it would be epic.
A great idea, and you should definitely tease that out when you're with the other founding members in San Francisco. I think that's a great, in-person
Yeah.
discussion as well. By the way, we do have before we let you go, Emily, who came on before y'all, had one question for you guys. We'll keep it short because I know we're high on the time here. Her question is, if you could be a benevolent dictator of the world, what would be your first mandate?
To raise government salaries, we actually have a great example in Singapore where the person who made Singapore was, uh, I think, still a dictator. But to like really make every government employee's salary so high that they don't even think about corruption ever.
Love it. Ami, what about you?
Uh, I don't know the process, but the outcome of that would be that everybody should be doing an activity which they love, and that should be enough to support their life. So basically, their their jobs should be something that they love, and they should get enough to support their life. Now, the process part, I have to think about that. How does one achieve this as a dictator? I kind of went to the outcome, but that is what I want to achieve. This part, I'll write to her on WhatsApp or something like that. But
Look,
people should get paid to do what they love, and
Mm.
they should get paid enough to sustain their life. Not abundance, sustenance is like what I would try to achieve.
So, Ami, what I love about your answer specifically is that playing the handpan, getting paid to do that for my whole life would be fantastic. That'd be awesome. But the case that you use to carry the handpan goes around your straps around your back, so it looks like a Ninja Turtle shell. So I could kill
Yeah.
two one stone. I could become the Ninja Turtle and get paid
And
to
get
look like
paid.
one handpan.
Oh
There you
man, there you are. That's a classic stand-up comic,
Yeah,
callback.
yeah,
That's
that's
what
right.
it is. It's a callback.
Perfect.
And
Thank
I
you.
think you should do it whenever we all meet in person, whenever we do that in person retreat, a 5 minute stand up on handpan, Ninja Turtle sounds like fun.
Sounds
Don't
like
worry,
it.
we got plenty of handpan. Thank you guys for being so generous and thoughtful with your time, not just for today, but in general with the founding members and helping get the community off the ground. I mean, the co-stewardship model, it takes a lot of work and energy and passion from everyone involved, and you guys are just awesome examples of what it means to be a founding member. So thank you so much from the bottom of Gerhard and I's
Oh,
heart.
guys, sorry. I wanted to ask, like, do we want to stand? And again, there is no pressure, but should we start? Because there are such great minds here. It doesn't have to be monetary, but should we start like something where everybody can contribute back to the society somehow? It's just an idea, and we don't have to talk about it right now. But because there are such smart people here, it can be creating something for the society. It doesn't have to be money. It can be, oh, we want to, ensure sanitary pads, and that's a very big problem, which I'm sure we are not able to solve maybe today, but maybe we try and solve a problem which is small. We try something small, and then that grows like a
Impact. So it's an
impact.
impact
Yeah,
grant.
have like an impact. Yeah, like have an impact, and because you guys come from it, right? I have been associated with it. Like, I'm just saying that's something which will interest everyone. Most people have achieved a lot in their life. Giving back, I think every organization should have something for giving back, including ours.
Right now, we have 3 tracks. We have AI and entrepreneurship and tech. We have Sanctuary for consciousness talks
Right.
was a lot today, and then playing and imagination creativity. I could see this
Right.
being a fourth one, Gerhard. We'll have to take that one offline, but impact being a fourth one is not is a great idea, really.
Yeah. Well, it can be actually part of, like, without increasing it, we can be part of sanctuary or something. Not sanctuary, but like maybe tech and entrepreneurship. I don't know. Where you actually develop, just talk to people and develop something, create something, put in ideas, where you are able to give back to the community.
The beautiful thing about this, what we do at Eleven Dunbar, is if we want something as a group, we can just do things. So
Right, of course.
it's
No,
awesome.
no, I just wanted to float that idea just to see reaction. So that,
Yeah,
like,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I totally resonate with that. In fact, the idea that I had of this GTM butterfly, the whole thing. Um, I thought that if it works well, then it is owned by Eleven Dunbar. Like if it's a useful tool that can come out, then it is something that is co-owned by everybody and it is probably provided to entrepreneurs for free. So that's sort of a thought process that what we are creating, we are co-creating and it is owned by the community platform, whatever we want to call it. So that was like one thing on AI and entrepreneurship and tech. And because I haven't created it yet, I don't even know if it's useful or not. But if it turns out to be useful, it could also be because we created it through the mentorship of you and everybody helping me out over here, that everybody kind of owns it. So that was kind of coming in the back of my head, and I'm working on that project. So in a couple of weeks, I hope I can show you guys a prototype on that. But that was something for maybe an offline and a different discussion as well, which I wanted to bring up in the coming weeks.
Yeah, sounds epic. Yes to everything. That's always my answer. Guys, it was awesome, epic conversation.